All right, gonna make some more rounds. This was taken from some of these boards here. This was came out from underneath a garden shed that I had in the backyard. Recycled them. They had a couple places where they were toe-nailed and had some nails in them. Anyway, I planed them down and jointed the edges, glued them up, and they're now 24 inches. And that square is 24 inches, so I'm going to screw that down and go to carbon and emblem on it here in a minute. All right, just putting a screw in the corner. Let me go around and drop this thing down here and push her back up in there. And bring this back. And put a little bit of a screw in the back side of that. Let's get that done. All right, drop that down. It's back up on this little hooker deal there. I know that's high tech, but it works. It's been working for 5 years. You just pull this out, drop it down on the ground, lift this up, and we'll put that in right there. Got another stick right here on the side, put right there. I did put a reinforcing deal on those two corners. It's just a 3D printed thing. All right, let me put a screw down there and hold it down. Drill it first. Come in about 1.5 inches from the corners, and away we'll go. All right, work out the center of this project. And it's going to just cut a big 24-inch round out of it. It'll hit the edges of this and cut it out. Of course, that's the last thing I do is cut it. Anyway, the center of it is just 12 inches in, 12 inches in, and that's close enough. So let's get her done. Well, I just went from corner to corner. My LED's lightening that up enough to where I can see the corners now. Before I was too dark, couldn't really see them. Anyway, so there's another way of getting center down there. Just corner to corner. Got that done. I always will check it with the tape, make sure it's 12 and 12, but I'm sure it is. Nice thing about Shark is that's now home. This machine won't waste any time homing, going up here to this corner. None of that. That's home. As long as the power stays on, or I start and stop it at that point with the power switch, that's home. And it'll always come right back to that one. After 5 years, so I can guarantee it'll come right back to that one. And so I'm going to put a 3/4 inch bit, I believe, in there to get her down. So let me go ahead and load up my tool path, load up my USB deal here, and go down here to the Ranger Emblem code. Let's see where we got here. Jigsaw, Ranger Emblem code. And Ranger Flint, Ranger code with code 24 inches. There's the one we want right there. And that's the guy. And the first one is a pocket for extra text. They're set up there as underline 1, underline 2, underline 2. Underline 3 and underline 4, and so on. And so let's just see what this one is. It is a 1/4 inch end mill. Okay. Very good. Underline 1/4 inch end mill. Then the 2'3" is I think this one's. Let's go back. A 1/4 inch. Well, it's ball nose. 1/4 inch V-bit. 1/4 inch end mill. And 1/4 inch ball nose. Okay. Alright. So there we go. Let me go ahead and put in that. I'm going to go back and check this thing just to see about that, whether it's a 3/4 inch or a 1/4 inch. Alright, starting out with a 3/4 inch clearance bit. I had the 19-inch emblem that I did it about half the time, so I decided to go ahead and edit the toolpath and make it a 3/4 inch because it just does it so much faster than a 1/4 inch. Anyway, so we'll let that one roll and get her going. Alright, got my toolpath ready to go. First one's a 3/4 inch pocket. And I'm doing 2 ball noses on 2, and then 3's a V-carve, 4 is a 1/4 inch cutout, and then 5 is the profile cutout for the final cutout. And so we're going to start getting them running and see how they come out. And there I am, loaded up, ready to roll. Alright, got that all done. And we're going to move up to the number 2. That took 31 minutes and 6 seconds. So we'll chuck up a ball nose in there and bring it around here and chuck it up. Alright, got a 1/4 inch ball nose in there, got it zeroed off the top. Let's let her rip. I'll go down here and use the USB 3D finish 24 by 24, and it's a 1/4 inch end mill. No, ball nose, I'm sorry. 1/4 inch ball nose. Next. And here we go. And there she goes. Let's clean that up. Alright. Start to cut the emblem out, and that'll run for a while. And that is a 1/4 inch ball nose. See how she looks when she's done. Alright, then we'll clean up, running the shop vac. This is the back side of the machine. I already cleaned the front of it up. You know, you can clean this thing up in a couple minutes, and versus the rest of your shop, it stays clean. And it all stays inside the CNC machine. I've been doing this for going almost 6 years now. So, anyway, let me get her vacuumed out. Alright, look what happens when you got carpenter bees in your wood. This is an old board from underneath the shed, and I've got a carpenter bee tunnel in it. And we'll just kind of see how far she goes. I'm going to fill that with some wood, some sawdust and some wood, and see if I can get it to cover up, and then I'm going to CNC on it. So we'll see what we do with that. Alright, so I went through there and filled that with some of the sawdust from the shavings in here. I'm going to go ahead and V-carve the words, and then the other one, then I'll go back a little later on and cut that out a little later on today whenever that's dried out. So let me get the V-carve going. Alright, I've got the V bit in there, it's zeroed out, and we're going to let her run here. And this is going to be on the 24 inch, and we're going to do the V-carve. Go down and look at the bit, and it's a 60 degree. And do not use 0, and start. Alright, got that repair and those numbers out there where that big old carpenter bee had put a slot in there. Fill it with sawdust, and then I went over it with some sawdust and glue, kind of busted it out a little bit, and then I'm running it over. What I did is I took an oval and just put it over that area that was damaged, and then I brought the oval in to where it's just kind of staying on that plane where it's working right now, and then ran it around, and you know, it's basically just doing everything that's in that oval area of the 3D deal. So I just I'm having go to the vector outline. So that's pretty handy as far as that goes. If I just left the whole vector in there, it's going to show a little bit of a carving on the top of that emblem back there, but hopefully this will work. We'll find out. Alright, after a little bit of sanding, that's what she turns out like. That was just a 1/4 inch ball nose. You get a little more detail if I went with an 1/8 inch ball nose. But it looks good. And it's looking out just fine. Alright. Just looking at it. Of course, I hadn't had anything sanded on it. This is where the bee was, carving bee had made a cut on it. And then this is where my V-bit went down. But overall it did pretty good. It left a little bit of an oval. I think I can sand that out there just a little bit. But we'll find out here. And then I'm going to run this on this grounding over bit here and take the rough edges off of it. Alright, ran my 1/4 inch steel because I liked how that looked. And I ran my last bit here, getting me down to a cutout. So we're pretty close to the bottom of that. So I'm going to pull it out and have a look at it and see how she looks. A friend of mine gave me some old piece of walnut. It was pretty wide, had a big cup in the middle of it. You know, it's almost twice, it was almost 18 inches wide. But I don't have any use for something that wide. It's got to be cut down and put into more manageable sizes for me to use it, because it'll just cup. But anyway, that's almost like an 8-foot piece of walnut. And so after you get that old rough stuff and you run it through the joiner and the planer and round the edges off of it, comes out some pretty wood, so walnut. And so I'm making that tripod stand. So I cut some wedges, and this should give me a good footprint. And so I'm gluing them on there. I used some 30-minute glue and some regular glue, so I'm going to just let that hang overnight. Then I'm going to try and find me a nice bolt to put through it and line them all back up and get some chain for it so that it'll set pretty comfortable. And then that'll hang that emblem on that. So we'll put that on there with the white. Also, I'm going to put some candles, little candle holders out here, and there'll be little pieces of wedge, and I'm going to make them out of pine, I think. So it'll be a little bit multicolor with all clear colors. And there we go. And those are 78 inches long. All right. There is the stand. Coming up, I'm getting ready to put the base together. The stand, this pivots. That's a 1 1/8 inch dowel with a walnut plug. These are walnut risers, and this is these are dowel. These two are screwed with dowel plugs, and then these are screwed with a dowel plug, and then of course this one's going in the top. I've got to trim that out with a little bit of a deal, and then I'm going to put one along the bottom. That's like basically across the bottom there, cutting that out. But anyway, that's that. And then of course this guy right here is going to fit in there, so let's put that in there, and it's in there. So nice cool looking deal. And then I'm going to put a white candle at the very top. We'll have the pastor light that one. Alright, got all my little attachments done on there. I basically used a couple of carriage bolts where I attached this piece on there. And then these two are just locked in. This one's locked in by these two little stubs. So this just lifts straight up. And there's a bungee cord holding that down. This thing's locked in with the 2 pins on the dowel there. And this is the foot. Keeps it from moving around. And I decided to keep it natural. So when it gets skinned up, I can just run the sander over a little bit and clean it up a little bit. Because these things get stored in closets and get banged around. So it gets finish on it. I won't have to worry about the finish. I'll just do a little sanding on it and be good to go. So anyway, this is the stand for the GMA, the candle lighting stuff, and it's the back side of it. So we're gonna go put it in the office or stand her up. This is what it looks like from the front side. Got the nice dowel accents with the white pine and the walnut. So it gives it quite a bit of differential. There's legs not kicked out on it yet. Maybe that's that side of it. It's about 67, 68 inches tall. So there's one candle that fits in here, and the top of it's about right here. So, but I think we can get all those to catch up. Anyway, came out really nice. I left the dowels sticking out a little bit proud. I looked for about 3/4 of an inch on them. Some of them I got a little more, some I got a little less, but yeah, it's all right. They look close enough. So there we go. I'm going to back up, see what I can back into here. All right. There it is in storage mode. Top to bottom. Holds for the candles. And away we go.